canned food. Yummy. So I'm gonna rank these guys 1 through 4. 1 bite, taste test. Oh God, I wanna do a second bite so bad. Wow, that's not an MRE. Wow. Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, welcome to the kitchen. Technically, it's my workshop with just a table that looks like a kitchen, but we're talking about canned food. If you're like me, you've eaten a lot of different types of chow in the backcountry. Depending on what you're into, your level of preparation prior to the trip, you might have beef jerky and ramen, or you might have steaks. Depending on how you prepare is going to determine how good of a time you're gonna have. A lot of people don't address the elephant in the room with pre-packaged freeze-dried food, which is, it's full of sodium. And what that means is you're not gonna poop for at least 3 days. And I know this because I grew up in the military with meals ready to eat. I just told my media guy, Julian, before we filmed this, in Ranger School, I saw 4 heat casualties from dudes trying to eat freeze-dried long-range patrol rations, which, by the way, are delicious. Prior to a patrol, they stuffed the freeze-dried food in their mouth and just chugged a canteen of water. Probably not the best thing to do in Florida in springtime, right before a patrol. They winded up becoming heat casualties because the amount of sodium that was in the food. So what we're gonna do is review 4 different types of camp food, and we're gonna grade it based off of 3 principles. The first principle, time. How long does it take to prepare? Second parameter, taste. Does it taste good? We're gonna do some like Dave Barstool Sports taste test, 1 bite, and then judge the flavor, the taste. But most significantly and likely least talked about in this space is nutrition profile. That includes how much fat, how much sodium, how many carbohydrates, and how many calories that you're gonna get. Is this going to be a meal that's gonna stop you up for 3 days, or is it gonna be good whole food? It's kind of hard to get all of those in one. We'll scale all of those and then rank them 1 through 4. All right, guys, you ready? Let's do this. All right, starting out with ramen. Let's start out with Shin Ramen. Already got the water boiling. Let's start the clock, meow. And it's kind of cheating because you gotta wait for the water to boil, but we'll get it a freebie. So the water's already hot. All right, now we're going to preparation for these, and we'll start the clocks on these as well. This claims it takes 10 minutes inside the pouch. We shall see. All right, so start the clock now, and again, remove that. Already got hot water prepped. That's not part of it. We'll just assume that, bam, and then 10 minutes. Allegedly. There we go. All right, to prepare, open, oh, 5 minutes. All right, start the clock now. Bink. Is this the same meal? Why does it look the same? Oh, beef stew. I guess it looks all the same. Okay, bam. All right, the next thing is Carnivault. It says that you have to do it 2 to 4 hours. I'm familiar, like with all these products, usually it's just 5 minutes. 5 minutes of constituting in water is gonna get it to the point in which you can cook it. So let's do that now. Oh, ramen. Sorry, YouTube's gonna ban me. And my cameraman's agent, so nobody's offended in this shop. Okay, all right, sorry. Let's introduce the brands. The first thing is what I grew up with. Now, I thought this was like gourmet ramen compared to top ramen. So when my mom bought this from the Korean store, she's like, no, this is the good, I can't even do it. I shouldn't give my mom an accent. She has one, it's hardcore. But she said Shin Ramen is the best. This is like tier 1 ramen. You don't want top ramen, and you can get it at any Asian market. All right, we just started the boil. We're 2 minutes in. One of my favorite companies is Peak. They make really good food. Now, when we get into the nutrition, when we get into the flavor, we'll compare it and contrast it, but white chicken chili, and we'll see how this turns out. The next meal, Mountain House is likely the most popular camp food brand, and you can get it everywhere. It's just everywhere that you go. But this particular flavor, beef stew, is one of my favorites as well. And I wanted to do a really good comparison between freeze-dried beef in this form factor and then this guy, which is Carnivault. If you're a carnivore eater, if you just prefer clean protein, this is like no hormones, antibiotics, non-GMO, all the stuff that you expect in a whole food. And it's just freeze-dried beef, top sirloin beef. The disadvantage of this, you have to constitute it and then you have to cook it. But if you have a good fat like tallow, this is Wagyu beef tallow that doesn't expire. I mean, you just keep it inside of your rig. This is a good fat to add to this. And so that's the drawback with Carnivault, because you have to add fat, but it depends on how you want to eat. I don't know if it's going to make it less convenient We shall see. All right, we're 4 minutes in. So this is about ready. Again, we're just doing the analysis on the time it takes for this. You gotta add these sauces. And what I like to do, depending on how you like your ramen, I actually like to throw down with eggs, onions. My dad put onions and hot dogs. And then I like to boil off the water, so I don't wanna slurp on soup at the campsite, but if it's wintertime, I would want that. I wanna boil off some of this water, so I'm gonna extend the timeline. So right now we're at 5 minutes, just hit 5 minutes. All right, allegedly, this meal, according to the instructions, says open pack, carefully add 1 3/4 cups of boiling water, stir carefully, wait 5 minutes, open package, and reseal. We just hit the 5 minute mark. It says we need to stir it, and we're gonna open it up, stir it, and then reseal. All right, wait 5 minutes, package, and then let stand an additional 4 minutes. 9 minutes total, and we're 6 minutes in. This one says open pouch and tear, carefully add 1 cup of boiling water, and then stir well, let stand for 10 minutes, open, stir, and enjoy. So we're 6 minutes in for this one. All right, I think the ramen's done. So we're about 7 minutes in, and it appears the ramen's done. So first to finish is gonna be the ramen. And as expected, it's ramen. All right, so it's been 5 minutes on this. What I'm gonna do is just throw it straight in. I'm actually going to just use the beef. I'm not gonna include the water that's in it. And then I'm gonna throw some tallow in it. So we'll add this to the clock, get that fat in there. So the clock's starting on this. We're only 5 minutes in on that. All right, so the first winner for time, 7 minutes. We just started this at the 5 minute mark. At 9 minutes, if this isn't done, then we're looking at this being the number 2, according to the instructions. And I'm using a pot. A pan is a better option, but you could use an MSR stove. But this meat, freeze dried, is raw meat. The longer the better that it constitutes. What's interesting about Carnivault is it advertises this is 6 servings. It makes 1.5 pounds of meat. And this bag, I can tell you, only weighs a couple ounces. But constituted with water, you're looking at 1.5 pounds of top sirloin steak. All right, 7 minutes in. All right, we're at the 8 minute mark, guys. 8 minutes. Yeah, this is done. All right, good fats, lean meat. All right, guys, so we're done with the time. We got the time lined out, 7 minutes for ramen. That's not include waiting for the water to boil, but I mean, you're drinking a beer, hanging out with your kids in a campsite. This, 7 minutes total. This, according to the instructions, which we've abided by, it's ready in 9 minutes. Carnivault, it says to constitute it and hydrate it fully, and you could do that for hours. I'm not gonna do that. I can constitute it for 5 minutes, which I just did with salt water, and then I add it to a pot, cook that for an additional 4 minutes. So these are tied for 9 minutes, and this, according to the package, add the boiling water, and then let sit for 10 minutes. All right, I'm ready to taste. What about you, Julian? You ready to taste this? So let's start off with ramen. I've been doing this my whole life. So we're gonna scale it based on first bite. We're not gonna do second bites, just first bites. Oh God, I wanna do a second bite so bad. All right, on a scale of 10, 6.7, 6.7. 6.7. I can't give it more than that. I'm a fan of Shin Ramen, but I need to church things up, right? And no offense to Shin, Mr. Ramen, but that would need to be churched up for me. I'm talking about beef, eggs, protein, because we're just sitting on noodles. But 6.7. The next one is beef stew, an oldie but goodie. Again, just straight out of the bag, one taste. Let me try to get the bottom of the bag, because maybe that's where the flavor sits. Probably added too much water, but did it by the book. Oh, not fully constituted, but that's okay. Not too bad. On a scale of 1 to 10, and I'm not judging this based off of like normal food. This is a judgment based on a scale of camp food. Ooh, that's not bad. 7.2. 7.2, not bad. All right, Carnivault, it's just meat, right? Meat and salt. Now I'm a meat guy. I did use Firecracker Farms spicy salt. This hotter stuff, I like Snake Eater as well. But for spicy salt, it's like one of the best. And for just general salt, I constitute it in Redmond salt, which is my favorite salt. 2 pieces of meat, a little Joe Rogan hot sauce. And this is the Señor Lechuga hot sauce. And I'll link that down below. Again, no affiliation. I got meat chills from that. It's called meat chills. Look, I already know this product, it's good. It's just top sirloin beef No additives, no flavors. You want some? Get some of that. You like hot sauce? Yeah. With that hot sauce, man, with that salt, on a scale of 1 to 10, 8.6. 8.6. Congrats, Carnivault. And then white chicken chili. All right, 10-minute constitution. Well, that looks pretty good. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of crazy because it looks like whole food because it's got meat, beans, and corn. All right, here we go. One bite. Wow. Dang. Like, no lie. That is one of the best camping foods I've ever tasted. Okay, I'm breaking the rules right here. Because look at that. I mean, look at that. That looks like grandma's chili. It got better on the second bite. Wow, that's not an MRE. Wow. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 9.2. That's a 9.2. Wow. Dude, I could eat that whole thing right now. Good job, Peak, on this. All right, lastly, the assessment is nutrition value. So I'm gonna put up the nutrition value, but let me just walk through the basics of this. You guys can see the nutrition label. Let's just go over 3 things. Actually, let's add 4, because sodium is gonna be one of them. Calories, carbs, protein, and sodium. All right, so calories. 1 bag, 560. Carbohydrates, 87 grams. That's 32% of your daily value. Protein, 10 grams. Now, if you follow the general rule of thumb for retaining or sustaining muscle, you want to be getting at least 1 gram a pound. For me, that's 230 grams a day. So yeah, 10 grams ain't doing much for me. And sodium, 1,310 milligrams. That's 57% of your daily value. Are you surprised? I would not be surprised, it's ramen. So the next one is Mountain House. We're gonna do it by package. They usually break these down into multiple servings, but we're gonna do it by pack. 420 calories for this. That's actually a lot lower than I thought. I think I want more calories out of it. Let's just go with that. Carbohydrates, 48 grams, which is 17% of your daily value. Protein, 20 grams, double the ramen, which is quite significant. For the form factor, for the size, they're about the same. For sodium, we have 1540. That's surprising. So it's 60% of your daily intake. You're not gonna poop for a while. And guys, drink a lot of water with these. That's the problem. It's got so much sodium. 60% of your daily value of sodium. And I'm surprised it's got way more sodium than ramen. All right, let's go to Carnivault. All right, calories, and we're doing it by bag. And they have 6 servings in this bag. It's a lot of meat. So by bag, rehydrated, we're looking at calories. So 1,200 calories for the entire bag. 1,200 plus calories. Now you're not gonna eat the whole entire bag, so that's not quite fair, but this is 1 serving. 1 little serving, and there's 6 of those in here, is a couple hundred calories, okay? Carbohydrates, it's not surprising, especially if you're on carnivore, you're in ketosis, you know the deal, no carbohydrates, 0. Now, I don't necessarily have issues with that because if you're used to running on ketones, improved cognition, improved energy levels, then you know what it feels like. So you don't wanna add carbs. But if you were going to augment this because it's just protein, maybe you put this into some some noodles, and then add your protein to it. Because here's the kicker, protein, 120 plus grams of protein in this bag. This serving, just this meat right here, is 25 grams of protein. That's a lot. All right, sodium, that's gonna be the kicker. 60 milligrams, like 6-0. Now that's for 1 serving. Let's be fair, let's just do the multiple, that's 6, that's 360 milligrams. That's still only 18% of your daily value for the whole bag. Per serving, 3% of sodium total. Now I did add salt, which in this case for beef, you would wanna do that. And I do have the added calories and the added fat by adding this, but it's not as convenient, right? We're not just dumping water in a bag. We actually have to constitute it, cook it, add the fat, but also add the hot sauce. So there's a little bit more complication, but it only took us 9 minutes to make. Surprised by that. All right, let's go to the last thing, the best tasting. Let's get into the nutritional value. So 1 pack, 760 calories, 53 grams of carbohydrates. Not too bad. That's 19% of your daily intake. Not too shabby. And then we have protein, 41 grams. Comparing these two with all the meat in this bag, this is 120 grams of protein, but still, that's not bad. 41 grams per this meal. And then lastly, sodium. That's gonna be the most important because that's really how I'm judging these things. 1,210 milligrams. So 53% of your daily intake in 1 meal. That's a little bit of an issue for me. If you look at the ingredients, here's a long list of the ingredients. You know what the ingredients are in this? Meat. You know the ingredients are in this? Take a look at that bottom ingredient list. My favorite is look at the ingredient list on ramen. Does that include like what is that? Is that in a foreign language or is that just a lot? Enriched wheat flour, niacin, folic acid, palm oil, potato starch, disodium alcohol. I thought it was just noodles and hot sauce. All right, let's rank them. So I'm gonna rank these guys 1 through 4. Number 1, Carnivault. I like eating clean in the backcountry. I also don't like pumping my body full of sodium because it's gonna dehydrate you with elevated activity. If you're not hydrated, it's gonna dehydrate you even more. And dude, I don't like to feel that bloat from sodium. So I wanna minimize that as much as possible. Although not the best tasting, you could add the supplementation, which I think is a negative, but the benefit that you get from adding the supplementation is just pure beef. You can add whatever you want. So definitely number 1 for me. I just snuck a piece of meat, I'm sorry. Ton of protein, a little bit of calories, or if you're a carnivore, do you, because you're running on ketosis, but virtually no sodium unless you add it, which strategically you should be adding it. I just don't want to add 50% of my daily intake via one meal. Also tastes good. Not like top sirloin from your favorite Brazilian steakhouse, but still good. Number 2, without a doubt, this Peak. This is the best tasting meal I've ever had in camp food. Peak does it right with flavor. Reason being is it's a lot of things. But I recognize a lot of the extracts, which are natural flavors, onion powder, garlic powder, celery powder, and it seems to be more natural than not. The problem, it has 53% in one meal of your daily intake of sodium. So if you're not careful, because you're not hydrating, you're gonna have some complication. All right, number 3, Mountain House. This beef stew is good. It's not great, it's good, but it has a ton of sodium. This actually has the most sodium at 1,540 milligrams, at 60% of your daily intake of sodium. That's more than ramen, which is just noodles and salt. And the list of 100 ingredients on here that I don't recognize, which is scary. Like, this is probably the last time I'll ever eat ramen, till tomorrow. 4th place, ramen, Shin Ramen. The problem is, to get a good taste in ramen, you gotta add things to it. I mean, I grew up that way. Sure, you could have it, but it's just noodles. The protein in this is super low. It's 10 grams, so not a lot of protein. And then you're paying for it with 560 calories, but they're empty calories because that's your ingredient list. I mean, once in a blue moon, you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're watching Netflix, sure, do some ramen, but it wouldn't be what I recommend, especially if you're very active and you're backcountry hiking or going through it. So to sum up, Peak is one of the best tasting meals. You know how to optimize this meal? Don't eat the whole bag. Split the bag in half, which splits 760 calories into 380, and then supplement it with clean protein. This isn't fair to do this as a comparison because I eat this all the time. I eat it for like dinner. I also think it's cool to have like whole food, low sodium that I could supplement into food. Sometimes I bring elk steaks out to the campsite and we're eating mac and cheese, which is not the best for you, but we're supplementing the protein with something that's really good for you. So do the combination of both. Lastly, I mean, stay away from this. This is technically garbage. It's bad for you. It's high in sodium, high in calories with no nutritional benefit, and it doesn't taste that great. I mean, my mom's ramen, best ramen ever, but she churches it up. It's gonna be difficult to church this up out of a backpack on a hike. All right, again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Guys, I appreciate you. If you like this kind of content, this is what I want to do because I just like this kind of stuff. I want to do more camping, survival, backcountry content. Leave me your feedback and comments. Subscribe and like the channel. And if you're into it, hit the notification tab. Also, I have a Patreon where I do behind the scenes content, also uncensored content that I typically can't do here. Until next time, appreciate you guys.
Get some thumbnail like poses.
Oh! 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 Oh!